Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is the 17th of January 2022. It's Monday, the 17th of January 2022. Today is the official national holiday of Martin Luther King's birthday. Rest in peace, rise in power, Dr. King. Hope you're enjoying your Martin Luther King weekend. I hope you're healthy and COVID-free today. I hope that your family is also healthy and COVID-free, and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field and the first responders, trying to save lives every day, including today. Blessings upon those also that pick up garbage for us to keep streets and sidewalks clean, and those that make deliveries even today for our convenience. Blessings upon those that are helping, trying to deliver rescue boys and girls and children and teenagers and men and women from prostitution, child prostitution, pornography, child pornography, human trafficking, sex slave operations, child molestation, and pedophilia. Blessings upon the ones trying to deliver these victims of these crimes, and curses upon the profiteers and perverts that get off and get paid on these souls. Finally, blessings upon the homeless. Nearly 600,000 men, women, and children and families in the United States of America, millions around the world in similar or worse conditions. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom, and on those trying to help lift them out of their poverty. So today at 1 o'clock, in just a few hours, there's going to be a basketball game. The New York Knicks are playing a very big game against the Charlotte Hornets in Madison Square Garden. They always play on Martin Luther King's birthday, holiday, and today's no different. 1 o'clock matinee. But today I want to discuss something aside from the big game, which we talked about a little bit yesterday, and we will review tomorrow by the grace of the Most High. We'll review tomorrow. But I want to talk about the question that is a big question now in Knicks Nation. And its question is, will Jalen Brunson of the Dallas Mavericks become a New York Knick? Will Jalen Brunson become a New York Knick? So this question has a couple of dimensions. Really, can he become a New York Knick during this trade season? Or will he become a New York Knick in the summer? Generally, I don't, as you all know, get into, some of y'all still don't get it. I don't get into fantasy basketball. I don't start reaching and saying we need to go after players that are not available. Okay. A lot of y'all like to do that because you're still in that crack NBA 2K mentality. We need to go after this one or that one, and none of those players are available. They're under contract. Their teams are not talking about dealing them. Most times they're not going to. Okay. So we just can't go after somebody. Okay. The players got to be available, and there's got to be an interest in the team that has his rights to let him go, or he's going to become an unrestricted free agent, or he just wants to leave. One of those things got to be true for them to be available. Not everybody's available. So, for example, LeBron is not available, right? He's not available to us. Dame Lillard is not available. He's not available to us because he's under contract. And he's going to get $50 million over the next each year for the next couple of years. So he's not available. All right. We're not interested in players that are not available. We're not going to break up our team to get players that are not available. This is not the case with Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson and Mitchell Robinson are in the same position because they were signed for minimum contracts in their rookie years. Because of that, there's a maximum that their current teams are able to pay them. In the case of both of them, the deal is 4 years, $55.6 million, or basically $14 million a year. That's the maximum their current teams can pay them. Now, if they become unrestricted free agents and go on the open market, other teams can pay them more. Okay, other teams could go higher. There's no limit to what they can get. All right. So, this was a situation that developed with Bogdan Bogdanovic when he was with the Kings. He was a similar situation. He had come in a minimum contract and he was eligible for an extension that was around that number, around $55 million. They offered it to him as soon as they could, and he waited a whole year and didn't sign it, and ended up signing for $70 million with Atlanta. Okay, they even tried to trade him during that time, and the trade was voided. I forgot why the trade was voided. They tried to trade him to Milwaukee, and the trade was voided. They were exchanging Bogdanovich for the kid from Villanova. What was that kid's name? The kid from Villanova that ended up on Milwaukee. What's his name? And then they had to void the contract and bring the kid from Villanova back because the deal with the trade was voided. Let me see, who was that? DiVincenzo, yes. So they were trading DiVincenzo to the Kings for Bogdanovich, but that trade got voided. But the reason was because Bogdanovich wasn't signing the deal that was on the table for him, and he wanted more money, and he got it. Okay, he got instead of $55 million, he got another $15 million, $15 million from the Atlanta Hawks. That is the situation that both Mitchell Robinson and Jalen Brunson are in right now. So generally, like I said, I don't listen to these rumors, but where there's smoke, there's fire. And let's go over the smoke. First of all, the major smoke is that he has not signed the extension. Okay, that's the major smoke for Jalen Brunson and Mitchell Robinson. They have not signed the extension. Now, for the Knicks, I don't think the Knicks have offered Mitchell Robinson the extension yet. Maybe they haven't offered to him yet, so we don't know. But for Jalen Brunson, it's obvious they have, and he hasn't signed it. So that means this summer he becomes unrestricted free agent. Okay? Unrestricted free agent. So obviously, that's a major smoke right there. The fact that he hasn't signed the deal, which means that he really is looking for more money. Now, it doesn't have to be a tremendous amount. Well, for us, it would be a tremendous amount more. But let's assume, for the sake of argument, instead of getting $55 million over 4 years, the Knicks gave him $55 million over 3 years. That would raise it from $14 million a year to $18 million a year. Maybe a fourth year option, like a Fournier got, fourth year team option, something like that. But he would end up with more money. So he wants more money, obviously. So does Mitchell Robinson. So we're going to see what happens. That's a major thing right there. So he's available. Not only that, we know that his father, Rick Brunson, very close with Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau coached him. Tom Thibodeau was good friends with his coach at Temple, Don Chaney, legendary coach in the A-10. And then, so that is very strong. And not only that, Leon Rose represented both Rick Brunson, and then later he represented Jalen Brunson before he came to the Knicks. So you have a guy that represented both of those players, and the father and the son, a father that's really close to the current coach, attends Knicks games, and a player that is in the mold of somebody Tom Thibodeau would like, a tough, hard-nosed, efficient point guard, defensive also. Although his defense is limited, it's not quite as bad as, say, Kemba Walker. He plays better defense than Kemba Walker, but he's not Deuce McBride, put it that way, on the defensive end. But he averages 16 points a game. He's averaging 16 this year, 5 or 6 assists, 5 rebounds. He's in his prime. His career averages are like 11 points a game, but he's in his prime right now. He's 25, going to be 26 this summer. So he's entering his prime. So he's looking for more money. So the question is, will he be traded before the deadline? Now, when you ask that question, what you have to ask is, what can Dallas get for him? Or what do they want? That's the question you got to ask. Okay? Which most people don't ask. In the NBA 2K world, you just put names in different places. But you got to ask the question, what does the team that now has his rights want for him? Okay? You got to ask that question. So, in the current scenario, He's under the last year of a 4-year deal that's paying him $1.8 million. He's an expiring deal. So to get the money to match is not going to be hard. You could send any guy with a minimum contract there for him. But, Dallas does not want a guy that's a rotation piece right now. Jalen Brunson starts, and he's definitely in the rotation. So they're not going to take a rotation piece and get a minimum deal guy. You understand? So they're going to want somebody that's a rotational player in place of Jalen Brunson. They're going to lose Jalen Brunson, but they want some guy they can put in their rotation. They don't want to lose a rotational piece for nothing. Okay? Now, the Knicks are in a strong position because of his ties to New York. Okay? They're in a strong position. And they got the money to pay him. Somebody said, well, we're over the cap. Right now, these contracts that the Knicks have, this is where the brilliance of the Don comes back again. The 2 and 3 year contracts they have are not tying up. They can get rid of those contracts very easily. Very easily. Okay? Any of them. And then most of the guys on the Knicks are in 2 or 3 year contracts. Everybody keeps spouting this $78 million that Fournier's getting. He's not getting $78 million. That's an incorrect statement. He's only guaranteed for 3 years at $54 million. The 4th year is a team option, and you could bet your bottom dollar they're not exercising that option. So the $78 million, that people in the post and all this throw out there all the time as if that's what they pay. They're not paying him that. They're not. Okay? It's guaranteed 3 years, $54 million. And that's the longest contract the Knicks have aside from Julius Randle. Everybody else is guaranteed for only 2 years. So they can get rid of them deals. So a lot of them cats are on expiring deals next year. I mean, when you look at the Knicks right now, look at the roster. I can tell you. I mean, a lot of them, they can get. So in other words, the being over the cap is not a problem for the Knicks right now. They can replace. Alec Burks is on a 2-year deal. Taj Gibson's on a 2-year deal. Nerlens Noel's on a 2-year deal. Derrick Rose is on a 2-year deal. Kemba Walker's on a 2-year deal. All these guys are guaranteed. They got 3-year contracts, some of them, but they're only guaranteed for 2 years. Fournier's guaranteed for 3. And he's the longest one. Of course, Julius Randle's guaranteed for 4 starting next year. So they can move these contracts if they need to. So the question is, who would they move? So one thing you got to know, it's got to be a rotational piece. It's not going to be a non-rotation player. It can't be an expensive contract because Jalen's only getting 1.8. So we can eliminate certain players. But not only because of his contract, but because of the way he's playing right now, I think we can eliminate Fournier as a possibility. Fournier's not going there. It would work based on the new contract. Now, if they waited till the summer and did it, Fournier might be that guy to go. But he's not that contract. No, not right now. If they want to get Jalen Brunson before the deadline, it's got to be something in the neighborhood of 1.8. Some say 1.8, 2.5. In that neighborhood. So now you got to look at your rotation. And let's look at the players that fit that criteria. Emmanuel Quickley, Obi Toppin, Cam Reddish. Okay. I'm going to take Quentin Grimes out of there. He ain't going nowhere. They're not giving up Quentin Grimes. But I can see Emmanuel Quickley, Cam Reddish, and Obi Toppin. They're the only players that fit. Okay. Nerlens Noel doesn't even fit. Nerlens Noel is $9 million. That's too much. That's too much money. Then Dallas would have to give up multiple pieces to fit Nerlens Noel. That doesn't work. Remember, you got to get the money to work. Now, you could do a 3-team deal. You're still going to lose a rotational piece, though. Okay? Let's say, for the sake of argument, I'm not proposing that this is a deal. So please, y'all that get the catnip on any suggestion of a trade, please calm down. But I want to tell you this. Let's say Obi Toppin went to Detroit. He'd be the starting point guard, starting 4 in Detroit today. Okay. They sent Obi Toppin to Detroit. Detroit sent Corey Joseph, a rotational guard, to Dallas, and Dallas sent Jalen Brunson to us. That money works. See what I'm saying? So if they make a deal for Jalen Brunson before the trade deadline, the Knicks are going to lose a rotational piece. I don't know which one it is. I can't tell you which one it is. I don't even want to guess because I don't want to lose IQ, Cam Reddish, or Obi Toppin. I don't want to lose any of them. Now, as we said, I told you on the previous video, if it's between Julius Randle and Obi Toppin, if it's between Tom Thibodeau saying I want Julius and and Leon saying I want Obi's gonna win that one because Leon drafted Obi. But here's an exception to that rule because Leon used to represent Rick Brunson and his son. Tom loves Jalen Brunson and his father. They would immediately give the keys to Jalen Brunson and make him the starting point guard. Immediately. He's not a superstar, and that's my concern. Jalen Brunson's a solid starter. Really solid starter. Okay? A good piece to go forward. He's not a superstar. And I don't mind them getting a solid starter, not a superstar. I'm not saying they should get a superstar, but I'm saying I don't want to pay him like that. Okay? I don't want to pay him like that. Like, I don't want to pay him $70 million unless the fourth year is a team option. Now, and here's where we got to trust the Don. The Don not stupid. He's just not stupid. Y'all should know that by now. Three-dimensional chess this cat plays. So if they did do that, that fourth year is going to be a team option. You know, they'll probably give him just like Fournier, 3 years, 54. And then he got a fourth year as an option for 18. He can get 72 if they keep him the fourth year. And there's a strong possibility of them doing that. But then again, maybe not. Because you got Deuce in the wing still, right? So, this is going to be interesting. Very interesting. I think they're going to try to do it before the deadline. And they're going to lose a rotational piece. Now, someone would ask, well, why would they lose a rotational piece? You see how crowded it is right now? Okay. And just imagine, you got the reason the Knicks are rolling right now is because they got Alec Burks out there on the defensive end. But Alec Burks, I think we all agree, is better in the second unit, correct? So if you have Alec Burks in the second unit, who you going to put as the point guard? Well, there you go, Jalen Brunson. He steps right in. You're not going to lose a beat with Jalen Brunson. He's really a team guy, solid. He's going to get you that 16 points a game. He's already playing 30-something minutes a game. He fits right in with what Tom Thibodeau wants to do. Okay? So now you would have Alec Burks back in the second unit, and one of the second unit pieces, either Quickly, Reddish, or Obi, would be moved. And I'm not guessing as I don't even want to guess as to which one because I hate to lose any of them cats. I don't think it's going to be Reddish. And y'all know why. I mean, he's the Duke guy. They just got him, right? They're not sending him out. He's staying. So it's IQ or Obi. Somebody might say, what about Kemba? His contract. He makes too much money. Kemba's getting $9 million this year. Remember, Jalen Brunson's only getting 1.8. They cannot make up that 7.2 million. Okay, they cannot make it up. It's got to be a guy on a minimum deal. That's a young player. That's a rotational piece. Okay, that's what it is. Jalen Brunson, 25 going on 26. They want a young player back. Now, somebody might say Shamanchik. Would you take Shamanchik is not even in our rotation. He's in the G League. And they got a number of forwards in their rotation already. They're not going to they're not going to take Shamanchik. I mean, if the Don could pull that off, more power to him. I mean, I would love that, but they're not doing that. I mean, they ain't stupid. They're pros, Dallas. But we have a long history with Dallas, don't we? Now, good thing about it, I don't think it's going to take any picks. You know, I'd be surprised if we're giving up a rotation piece. There's no picks involved unless the Don's going to squeeze a second rounder out of Dallas. He could do that because let's say if it was IQ, for example, IQ's a first round pick. Jalen Brunson's a second round pick. So he could squeeze a second rounder out of Dallas for IQ. Okay. He could do that. The Don is that good. So I can see that. Or if it was Opie, God forbid, the lottery pick, you know, he's going to squeeze a second rounder out of Dallas. He's going to squeeze them for some more, right? So this is going to be interesting, but I'm thinking they're going to try to, I don't know if they'll get it done, but I can see them pushing for it right now to get it done before the trade deadline. So they're trying to get it done to have Jalen Brunson over here. Now, they could wait till the summer and bring him in then, you know, it'll be a sign and trade though. It's going to be a sign and trade. Wait till the summer, it'll still be a sign and trade. So that might happen. It'll probably be a sign and trade, matter of fact. So one way or another, I guess what I'm saying is Jalen Brunson's going to be a Knick eventually. Unless something crazy happens, he decides he don't want to. All the smoke is pointing to him becoming a New York Knick. It's just a question of whether they get him before February 10th or whether they get him in the summer. It makes more sense to wait till the summer to me. But if they want him bad enough and they want to clear some time for some other players like Cam Reddish, right? So if you send the IQ out in that deal, you bring Alec Burks to Mobb Deep. So now you got D Rose, Alec Burks, Cam Reddish, Obi Toppin in Mobb Deep. Whoa, that's pretty daggone good. And if you send Obi Toppin out, you're gonna have Alec Burks, IQ, Cam Reddish, in Mobb Deep, and you might even see some, Oh, let me not forget Grimes. You got Grimes in there too. So they need to make some room. Somebody got to go, and it's going to be a good play. We're at the point right now. The Knicks got so much talent, so much depth that it's going to be painful to lose one of these guys. Okay, but I think Tom and Leon, on this regard, are on the same page in trying to obtain Jalen Brunson. I think they're on the same page. And because of that, it's a very strong possibility they get him before they're going to get him. I'm telling you, they're going to get him before, the end of summer. But they might get him before the trade deadline. But that's where we at with that. So it's going to be hard to watch. But it's not going to be a starter that's going out. No starters going out. It's going to be a guy that's in Mobb Deep that's going out. And which one? I don't know. This is going to be interesting. They just sent out a Kentucky dude, Kevin, right? But Kevin wasn't in the rotation. This is going to be a rotation piece. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I know Obi doesn't want to get traded right now. I don't think anybody wants to get traded right now, other than them kids. But we'll see what happens, man. It's coming. It's coming soon. So we'll see. Meantime, the Knicks got to beat Charlotte today. We need this win to get us the 7th seed, and then we can move from there. Okay, we need this win right here. So Kemba Walker's listed as questionable. I'm trying to tell y'all, they're gonna try to deal him. I know what Tom's talking, but he's questionable again. This is like the 8th game he would missed or something. So we're gonna see what happens here. This is gonna be interesting to see, but I don't think he's not changing the starting lineup today. I can 100% guarantee you the starting lineup is not changing. Anybody thinks so is you on drugs, because they're winning. They win 3 straight with the starting lineup. Tom's not changing it. Okay, it's not happening. Not today. So, and if they win today, not tomorrow. No. So we'll see what happens. I don't know what Kemba fits except on the bench, but coming off the bench. But we'll see. That's another issue that Tom, that's his decision. He got to deal with. But I can 100% guarantee you they win today, they're not changing the starting unit tomorrow. It's going to be the same. Right? But something's happening. And one of our kids on Mobb Deep, a rotation piece, is going to go out. Now, one more thing. I hate to admit it, but it is entirely possible that Deuce McBride goes, because he would be in the rotation with Dallas. Okay? Deuce McBride would immediately be in the rotation, right? And he is very much like Jalen Brunson, except he costs less. He's 900-something thousand versus 1.8. I don't see Leon doing that because he ain't stupid and he knows he got to deal with Deuce. So I'm thinking it's going to be a current rotation piece, and Dallas is going to want a current rotation piece. So, but that is possible also. Got to keep our minds open. So we'll see what happens. Please enjoy the rest of your Martin Luther King weekend. Be safe out there. Enjoy the game today. Go Knicks. Shalom.